And somehow I realize I can't. Oh, oh, as if I to the river.
The account began with a detailed recounting of the unfolding buzz around Justin Bieber and the intense attention placed on his Coachella appearance, particularly the events that followed once the stage lights dimmed. It was described as a moment filled with anticipation and curiosity, not only because of the performance itself, but because of the atmosphere surrounding it, including the reactions of figures such as Hailey Bieber and Kylie Jenner, whose presence and responses added another layer to the narrative. The scene unfolded with a sense of spectacle, shaped by weeks of speculation and heightened expectations, as audiences prepared to witness what had been labeled by many as Bieberchella. The first weekend had concluded, yet the conversations it sparked showed no signs of slowing, with discussions stretching across social media platforms, dividing audiences into opposing camps. Some observers expressed disappointment, describing the performance as underwhelming, subdued, or lacking the grandeur typically associated with such a high-profile event, while others defended it with equal intensity, arguing that the simplicity of the presentation allowed the artist's voice to take center stage. Those in support emphasized the importance of authenticity, suggesting that the absence of elaborate production elements did not diminish the experience, but rather highlighted a more genuine connection between performer and audience. The narrative acknowledged these contrasting viewpoints, while focusing closely on the performance itself, noting that the vocal delivery stood out as a defining strength. The voice was characterized as clear, controlled, and consistent, with an emphasis on precision and emotional resonance, qualities that, according to many accounts, remained intact throughout the set. Even among critics who questioned the visual aspects of the show, there was an underlying recognition that the technical execution of the singing had been notably strong. This detail became central to the broader interpretation of the event, as it suggested a deliberate shift away from spectacle toward a more stripped-back approach. The discussion then turned toward the significance of the performance beyond its immediate reception, highlighting the broader context in which it took place. In the lead-up to the festival, uncertainty had surrounded the artist's participation, fueled by rumors, speculation, and unverified reports suggesting the possibility of a last-minute cancellation. These concerns were not limited to casual observers, but extended to fans who had invested considerable time and resources into attending the event, many of whom expressed anxiety about whether the performance would materialize at all. The eventual appearance on stage was therefore framed not merely as a scheduled performance, but as a moment of reassurance, a confirmation that the anticipated return had indeed occurred. This sense of relief contributed to a more forgiving interpretation among supporters, who viewed the performance as a positive step regardless of its perceived shortcomings. Following the conclusion of the set, attention quickly shifted to what would become the focal point of the narrative, the afterparty. Reports described it as an event of considerable scale and intensity, continuing into the early hours of the morning and extending well beyond what might typically be expected. Accounts from individuals in the vicinity suggested that the music remained audible from a distance, with bass vibrations reportedly carrying through nearby buildings as the night transitioned into morning. One particular description noted that the sound persisted around 7 o'clock, illustrating the extent to which the gathering maintained its energy long after the official festivities had ended. The transition from a structured stage performance to an informal, private celebration was portrayed as seamless, with the artist moving directly from one environment to the other, sustaining the momentum throughout. As details about the after-party circulated, attention turned to the guest list, which was described as both extensive and highly selective. Various reports indicated the presence of prominent figures across entertainment, fashion, and social media, including Katy Perry, Adele, and members of the Kardashian-Jenner family, alongside individuals such as Lewis Hamilton and Timothée Chalamet. The gathering was characterized as one of the most exclusive events associated with the festival, reinforced by reports of stringent security measures designed to control access and maintain privacy. Allegations emerged regarding attempts by uninvited individuals to gain entry, though these efforts were reportedly unsuccessful due to the level of enforcement in place. The exclusivity of the event contributed significantly to its mystique, as the absence of visual documentation, stemming from a strict no-phone policy, meant that much of what was known relied on second-hand accounts and speculation. Within this context, a specific claim drew attention, involving a streamer who allegedly received an invitation but was denied entry due to the number of guests he intended to bring. According to the account, the decision was attributed to Hailey Bieber, though the narrative emphasized the unverified nature of the claim and cautioned against accepting it as fact. The inclusion of such details highlighted the rapid spread of rumors in the absence of concrete evidence, illustrating how narratives can evolve based on limited information. Despite the uncertainty surrounding individual anecdotes, the overall portrayal of the afterparty remained consistent, depicting it as a high-profile gathering defined by its scale, exclusivity, and duration. The narrative then revisited the broader context of the event, addressing the rumors that had preceded the performance. Among these was the suggestion that SZA had been prepared as a potential replacement, a claim that was later dismissed by the artist herself, who publicly refuted the idea and clarified that no such arrangement had existed. This response was presented as evidence of the extent to which misinformation had circulated in the lead-up to the festival, reinforcing the notion that much of the speculation lacked a factual basis. Additional rumors suggested the presence of measures intended to ensure the artist's readiness for the performance, further contributing to the atmosphere of uncertainty. These narratives, though unconfirmed, had influenced public perception and heightened the sense of anticipation surrounding the event. In reflecting on these developments, the account emphasized the significance of the performance taking place as scheduled, framing it as a resolution to the uncertainty that had preceded it. The successful completion of the set, combined with the subsequent afterparty, was interpreted as a moment of celebration, marking a return to form and a reaffirmation of presence within the public sphere. The narrative also considered the dynamics of private gatherings among high-profile individuals, suggesting that the controlled environment of such events allows for a level of freedom not typically available in public settings. The absence of recording devices and the shared understanding of privacy were proposed as factors that might contribute to a more relaxed atmosphere, in which attendees could engage without concern for external scrutiny. This perspective offered insight into the appeal of the afterparty, positioning it as not only a social event, but also a space defined by its exclusivity and discretion. Brief mention was made of North West being present at the festival itself, though her involvement in the afterparty remained uncertain, particularly in light of the historical tension between Kanye West and Justin Bieber. This detail was included as part of the broader network of relationships that intersect within such events, illustrating how personal histories can influence perceptions and expectations. The narrative concluded by acknowledging the incomplete nature of the available information, noting that while many aspects of the afterparty remained unverified, the overall impression was one of a significant and memorable gathering. The combination of the performance and the subsequent celebration was presented as a defining moment within the festival, capturing both the public and private dimensions of the experience. The account ended with an open reflection on the event's impact, suggesting that it would continue to generate discussion as the festival progressed into its next phase, with the possibility of further developments adding to the ongoing narrative.